Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge with the latest Manchester United news as the bids go in for the new ownership of Manchester United. Yes, tonight is the night, 9 p.m. It may well have passed by the time you're watching this. If you're watching live, it will pass with us together. But these second bids will go in, and we're talking world record bids for football clubs here. It's all about Al Thani and Qatar. It's all about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But look, there's a lot of detail to get into on this as to how these deals will be constructed, because there's still a lot of grey areas. Remember, Al Thani is saying he wants to buy Manchester United, clear the debt. He's got the money to buy the club and he's going to pump a lot in. So Jim's bid originally was for 69%. The debt was going to stay, and now we're hearing about 5 billion bids. Is it for the full club? Is it isn't? We're also going to talk about this 69% that the Glazers own, and who owns the rest. Who owns the rest of the shares if it's not the Glazers? So we can identify those people and who may well stay as part of Sir Jim's plan. We'll have to talk about that. But look, I just want to say as well, fantastic to be back in the show live on an 8 o'clock show. As you know, Goldbridge on tour at the moment. I did Monday, Tuesday night in Dublin. We're in Manchester tomorrow. Next Wednesday night is the only place you can do it if you want to be there. We've still got a few tickets left. Get them through the link in the video description or the live chat. What people didn't know at the Dublin show last night is the little speech I did at the end. I was nearly going to cry. Goldbridge nearly cried, but I got away with it. So just absolutely fantastic shows. I'll never forget them. They were absolutely brilliant. If you were lucky enough to be there, thank you very much. Really enjoyed them. You can still get tickets for London. And these shows are going to get better and better the more we do. But really enjoyed them on Monday, Tuesday. Really interactive crowds. Ricky was up on stage with me for both nights as well, for bits of it. It was a great crack. I really enjoyed it, and Dublin was fantastic. So yeah, looking forward to it. If you want to get your tickets, do it through the link in the video description. And we've got more venues to announce soon as well. Hi Mark, love the show. Oil me up. Qatar can take us straight back to the heights we all know we belong at the moment, says Jordan. Well, let's hit where we are here. It's somewhat irrelevant what the fee is. Remember, the Glazers want 6 billion. Now, do you think any of the bids are going to come from Apple or Elon Musk or Amazon, says David? No, I don't, David. I think if any of those bids were ever going to happen, we would have known about that. I think it's really interesting how, the Glazers have always said they want 6 billion, and yet is anybody going to give them that price? And I think that really is the place to start, really. These new bids, how close are they to what the Glazers want? Because overarching all of this, whatever we want to happen, it really depends whether the Glazers want to sell at the price that's being offered. There's a lot of talk tonight about £5.5 billion. There's a lot of talk of Al Thani and the Qatari bid being around £5.5 billion, and that is pounds, not euros or dollars, and that would be ridiculously close to the 6 billion that the Glazers have always wanted. The interesting thing for me is that we already know with the Al Thani bid that it's for 100% of the club. They want to buy all of the club. What we don't know about the Sir Jim bid is it changing? And look, even tonight there's a story just breaking here that there still remains a chance that potential new bidders could enter the takeover bid by tonight's 9 p.m. deadline. Because of course it's a soft deadline that you've got to remember the greed factor here. This is not about what's best for Manchester United. It really isn't. It's a farce. It's not about who's going to be the best owner for Manchester United. It really isn't. That's why somebody could pop in and bid even later. As long as they get their 6 billion, they'll take it and they'll run off. I mean, they've actually thinking the Glazers are going to sell to the best owner is ridiculous. They've treated us like absolute shite for 17 years, and people think that they might pick the right person. I mean, to be honest, this doesn't really go in Sir Jim's favour, does it? Because maybe he would be a good owner, and maybe if you were looking at what would be the ideal owner for Manchester United, maybe somebody would look at Sir Jim and say he's the perfect person. But that's not going to go in his favour, because the Glazers aren't going to look at it and go, well, he's a local fan. Everyone's going to like that. Let's sell it to him. They're basically going to sell it to the biggest bidder. So I don't think anybody's going to bid 6 billion is what I'm trying to get to here. I don't think anybody's going to bid 6 billion, and I think that's what the Glazers want. So the next question is going to be if Qatar and Al Thani bid 5.5 billion, as is being reported, and if that is true, will that be enough for the Glazers to sell? And I still don't know that it will be. I don't think Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to bid 5.5 billion. I really, really don't. I don't think he will do that. And I think if Qatar does and Al Thani does, that puts them very much in the head of the race, because they've got the money to spend and they've got the highest bid, so it puts them in a strong position. But what if the Glazers go, well, look, you're our best bidder, but we're not accepting that, we want more. You had this story this afternoon on Sky, which I was talking about briefly earlier, that the Glazers don't care what the fans think. Well, we already know that, but they're going to have to sell, in my opinion, because they need investment, or they'll fail anyway. So I do think there'll be a sale. My major concern now, if I'm honest, is how long this is going to take. Remember, back in November, when it was announced that we were up for sale, there was this talk that this deal would be done by now, at the end of March. I want it done now. I want it done yesterday. I want it to get done so that we can start planning our future. The sooner the better. We can just get on with it, and that's what needs to happen. Jan, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much. Oil money plus Eric Ten Hag plus history equals unstoppable, says Ricardo. Welcome to Members Club, Sir Marcus. And enjoyed the show last night, says Alan Noonan. Thank you very much for coming, Alan. And I'm really, really pleased you enjoyed it. And I can't wait to bring us back to Dublin. I think we're going to do a bigger gig next time. So yeah, we've already got plans in place to come back. I mean, I'd do 2 weeks in Dublin and just live there for a fortnight. It'd be great. Dean Henderson plus cash to Spurs for Harry Kane. Glad the Dublin shows went well, Mark. Cheers, pal, says Bryce. Well, I've got some topical stuff to talk about because Ronaldo's been talking. There is a story about Dean Henderson and the goalkeeping situation at Manchester United. We will get into all that a little bit later, but we are going to continue with this bidding thing. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about is I've got an inquisitive mind. You know that. I get quite intrigued. Now, the thing that I can't find any detail on, and I don't know whether we've got any experts in the chat, because I got an email from Harry today, who's a chartered accountant. Thanks very much. And he said, you know what? And it's good to be back, Ty. He says, Mark's back. Mark is back. I won't be back tomorrow night because I'm in Manchester tomorrow night. But I am back tonight, and I'll be back Friday, and then I'll be back with you for the rest of the shows through this international break, because I really want to get into the transfer chat. There's so much going on, but the bid obviously takes precedence at the moment. But it's good to be back. Come to Scotland, Mark. I think we're looking at Edinburgh next. I'm hoping we're going to do Edinburgh. But anyway, people are talking about an Ineos plant explosion. I don't really want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is, and they've got loads of plants, haven't they? I don't think it impacts on Man United's sale, if I'm being honest, although people are talking about it. But DQ says, Mark, this whole Sir Jim charade is annoying. The guy doesn't have the funds. He's borrowing and hope he can borrow more in the future. Well, I just wanted to dive into this because Harry said to me, he said, it's always been reported that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is bidding for 69% of the club. Who's the other 31% owned by, which I'll tell you in a minute. And also, what if Sir Jim is going to buy 69% of the club, and with that money, the Glazers are going to acquire 31% that's left from other people, and then they're going to, in tandem, run the football club? What do you think would happen then? Because that could be the dream ticket for the Glazers to stay in charge. Maybe that would be how Sir Jim does it. Well, that's completely speculative. We don't know that. And personally, I'd be dead against anybody that helped the Glazers stay, even if they kept 31% or 10%. But what I haven't seen today is all these bids. And I've heard that Sir Jim Ratcliffe might clear the debt. I've heard that he's going to bid £5 billion. But what I haven't heard is whether he's now bidding for the full whole control of the club. Is he adjusting his bid? Because initially, all the decent outlets were saying that the Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid was for 69% of the club. He was going to take debt on, but he was going to put it onto Ineos, but he wouldn't be able to clear the Glazers' debt. So it is a purchase from a billionaire, but still there'd be debt involved of some sort of description. And with the Al Thani bid from Qatar, it was no debt and completely buying 100% of the club. Now, has that changed? Is this second bid from Sir Jim suddenly, I'm going to try and buy all of it? In which case, is that more debts? How are you clearing the debt and bidding more when you were borrowing on Ineos? So I don't really know what's going on with that. And is he still buying 69% or is he still buying 100%? Mark, sorry to go off topic, but would we be able to watch your live show, says Shane. No, that's not fair on the people who turn up. There's a few clips that have gone out, but we can't stream the live show of that at the moment. We may do one in the future, but if Qatar bids also there's stuff in the show that you wouldn't want to go on YouTube because it's a bit impromptu. There was a couple of jokes that about Rio and the place Rio. didn't go down very well. If Qatar bids $5.5 billion, what would be the total package deal? Love the show, Mark, says Pascal. And glad the show went well last night, Mark, says Wayne. Jim hasn't the funds. I've done that one. So look, I want to just talk about this 69% because I don't know whether you're aware about this, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I got sent this by somebody the other day, and it was this information. I mean, it's a link to a website, and it says this: who are the top 5 biggest Manchester United shareholders beyond the Glazers? So if the Glazers own 69%, who are the top 5 shareholders? And there's quite a few, but who are the top 5 after them? Now, I was sent this. So Ariel Investments, which I've heard about before, Ariel Investments apparently they own about 7% of shares in Manchester United. They're an institutional shareholder. They're Chicago-based investment company, which was founded in 1983. And they're focused on value and global approaches. Then you've got Lindsell Train, who are a UK-based investment company founded in 2000 by Michael Lindsell and Nick Train. Its stated aim is to protect the value of its clients' capital over the long term. So another investment vehicle. Apparently they owe about 6.6%. You've got Massachusetts Financial Services, widely known as MFS. They're a US company that nearly has a century of active management experience, so potentially another investment company. They own 2.5%. Marathon Asset Management, who are a private independently owned investment management firm in London. And then Senvest Management, which is a New York-based investment advisor as well. So look, it looks like if you look beyond the 69% that the Glazers own, most other shareholders of Manchester United is investment companies. So presumably those investment companies would be bought out by Al Thani as well if he's going to buy the full club. Now, there was an interesting piece in the Times this morning that and this is where it gets interesting for me, if they buy Manchester United, there was talk this morning in the Times of around 7 billion investment from Al Thani based on infrastructure, backing of the manager, and of course, most important of all, the redevelopment or rebuild of Old Trafford. So there's a lot of money that would go into Manchester United in relation to the Qatar bids. But you know what? I'll come back to what I keep saying here, and I don't know what everybody else thinks. I'm almost getting to the point where I'm tired with the bid. And I never thought I was going to get to that point, but I'm tired of it. It's getting to a point now, really, where we need to call it out for what it is. I get that these things take time, but we were told that after the second stage of bidding tonight, there would then be one bidder chosen to have a few weeks looking at the financials and come to an agreement with the Glazers. We're now hearing there might be a third bid process. I'm not here for that. I'm not interested in that. I can't control that, but I'm not interested in that because all I'm thinking about is May and June and the transfer window. And if we're still bidding a third round of bids in mid-April, then we are getting perilously close to this transfer window opening and our owners not having time to sort things out. So for me at the moment, I'm just like, all this is greed from the Glazers. Who are trying to elongate this process to make themselves more money. And, they've got to go, and they've got to go fast, because I've played the game. You've played the game. The reality is, what's going on here is all this posturing about they might stay. They don't. I've always said this. People mention about it on social media and stuff. Oh, what about the persons you talk? What about, if you say something negative about somebody, what about their mental health and, how it might impact on them? What about Man United fans' mental health in the way that the Glazers have played and manipulated us over the years, just to make a few quid? They're not interested in us, and they don't care about a story being put out there that they might stay, even though I don't think they've got any intention of staying. Oh, we might stay to try and get people to pay more money. It's just all that's happening at this moment is they are happy to, as I said before, if somebody said, Joel, Avram and the Glazers, if you wait till the end of August, you'll get another $500 million. They wouldn't go, oh no, we can't do that because it will mess up the summer transfer window for the new owners. They'll go, let's wait till the end of August and we won't spend anything in the summer because we don't want to spend any of our money. So that's the thing that's just making me a little bit frustrated. Well, very frustrated, is I just want to get this process dealt with. We found out that the club was up for sale or looking for investment in mid-November. We're now nearly in April, and we're still talking about, look, the meal ticket, the obvious ticket is Al Thani and Qatar. They've clearly got the money. They want to buy all of the club. The money's there. The finance is there. Just crack on. Just kick everybody out and just crack on with that and work a deal out, because it's clearly going to have to happen, and we're going to clearly have to see as United fans whether it's the right move for us or not. But come on, we need this thing to start moving. Paddy says, hi Mark, so glad you're back on United Stand, missed these shows so much. Watching the Ireland match, Ferguson after scoring, Man United need to buy him. Qatar in, says Paddy. Just a few takeaways from the show last night, actually, because there was about 400 people there across both nights, and what we did at certain points is we lifted the light so you could see the crowd, and I just did something very simple. I was like, I gave two things, and I said, who do you want to own Manchester United? Sir Jim Radcliffe, put your hand in the air, keep your hand down if it's Al Thani. And across both nights, I would say, out of 800 people, our survey said 89%, 90% were for Qatar. So, be interesting to see how it goes with Manchester tomorrow. I also did De Gea stay or go. Vast majority, I'd say 89% again, were De Gea stay. Martial go or stay. I'd say 75% said sell Martial. And then Osimhen and Kane, I'd say, again, about 70-75% went with Osimhen over Kane. So interesting. It was great. I mean, look, we do polls and stuff like that. We've got a live chat, but it was interesting that that's what people said. But we got Ricky up, and I asked him about it, and he said, "Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't really want to talk about it. I think we do need a lot of money because of what's happened with the Glazers, but I'm not comfortable with being owned by Qatar." And he said, "Look, I know there's a lot of people who want Qatar in the room, and I'm not here to offend them, but for me, I'm not totally comfortable with it for a lot of reasons." Which I think, I said it on the show. I said I completely respect that, Ricky, because it's a different opinion to most people in this room, but that's what it's all about. So I think we're at that point now, and I don't speak for anybody other than myself, but I do sense that people are just getting a bit tired of this and they want it to get sorted out. I mean, Fabrizio and Sky Cave and Laurie Whitwell and everyone else, I mean, no disrespect to them, but does anybody else just feel that it's a regurgitation of the story? We've known about this 9 p.m. deadline for a week, and everyone all day is going, oh, it could be a bid is expected to go at some point between this tweet and 9 o'clock. And then you've got people going, I've got the exclusive, it's $5.5 billion. And you think, no, you haven't got the exclusive. You're just doing it for tweets and likes. You haven't got the exclusive at all, because it can't be leaked out. And if it's going to get leaked out, it's certainly not going to come from you, mate. So, yeah, I just want it to get resolved now. Was at the A show last night. Loved it, says Jamie Nally. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. And Sky, they need to get this over with already, says PDG. I agree. I think we just need to get moving with it. I really do. And that's why I want to move on with the show as well. But I mean, look, if anything breaks while we're live, we'll let you know. But as I said, 9 p.m. deadline tonight. And actually, it's not as exciting as we might think, because Qatar are expected to bid very close to what Sir Jim's going to bid. I think there's going to be a third stage, and there may well be other people that go through. And I personally think we're going to see a third round of bidding, because the Glazers are just going to milk this cow. I mean, the answer's in the answer's in the evidence, isn't it? They've milked us for 17 years dry. Do you really think they're just going to take a bid when they could milk it a little bit more? So I think we might be in for a few more weeks of this, which is just starting to piss me off, actually, because when you think about it, it's not exciting. It's not exciting. It was exciting. It's not exciting. And I think as a fan base, we need to wake up to that fact. We're being played again by the Glazers. This is not exciting. This is just us sat there watching the Glazers milk the cow, milk the bidders to make more money again. It's been the same story for 17 years. We're just watching the Glazers get rich by manipulating this football club and squeezing it dry. And now what they're doing is, with Sir Jim and Al Thani and everyone else, it's like, oh, let's see what your second bid is. Oh, I tell you what. Oh, we might do. Oh, shall I take that answer? Oh, it could be you, Sir Jim. It's like a crappy. They may as well employ Ant and Deck. Sir Jim, it could be you. Al Thani, it could be you. Elliott Management Group, you're out. Third, you, it could be you. And then Sir Jim goes, I thought this was the final round of bids. Well, that's the twist. That's the twist. We're keeping the show on the road. The show goes on. 2 more weeks. But we've just put our final bids in. Well, no. You thought you'd put your final bids in. Let me tell you, they're very interesting, aren't they, Joel? They're very interesting. Ooh, so close. Ooh, which way will it go? I think you need to put another bid in just in case you were a little bit off. You might have been really close. Maybe think about your bid again. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And I think that's what's happening now. I think that's what's going to happen. They're playing everybody. They're playing everybody. Ooh, we might not sell. We don't care what the fans think. We might not sell. Ooh, final bids, 9 p.m. on Wednesday night. Everybody tune in, 9 p.m. on Wednesday night. Ooh, your bids are so close. You know what we're going to do? It's a rollover week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Ooh, you're so close in what you're bidding, though. We're not going to tell you who was in front, but ooh, it's so close. It could have been you, Sir Jim. You might have been winning, but maybe you weren't. Maybe you're just behind Al Thani. Maybe have a look at your bid, Sir Jim. Maybe add a little bit more on. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. Everything is being delayed because the Glazers are trying to milk the cow. But ultimately, why should we be excited about that? Why? Ultimately, if the club was sold tonight to Al Thani or Sir Jim, at least we'd have new owners very, very quickly and we can start working on the summer transfer window. The longer they play everybody off against each other, how can Sir Jim or Al Thani start planning for the summer when they don't even know if they've got the club for a few more weeks? So it is getting frustrating. Matthias says, I'm glad to hear the show went well, but also to have you back on tonight's show. Yeah, well, look, it's a different kind of vibe sitting in. You know what? It's weird. We've got 20,000 people watching this show, which is absolutely amazing. And I was saying this last night. You know, we've got some really good questions. In fact, I'll go through it a little bit later in the show if people are interested. But it's very different to standing in front of 400 people and doing a show. Very, very different. But I love doing both. And, this is what we're all about. So make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Fantastic community. It's growing all the time. Glad the show's going well. Did you have a few drinks after, says Maguire update. Aidan, remind me about that because it all went wrong after the last... there's 2 stories I can tell you about after the show. But look, let's stay with the show because I know people... some people aren't going to the shows and they're not interested. So let's get moving. Tabasco says the Glazers aren't bothered, mate. They'll just keep milking the cow. Exactly, they will do. Right, let's get into a bit of topical stuff. Off topic, Mark, but would you do a live head-to-head debate with Beth at the studio on the De Gea topic? It might be happening. You might have just ruined something that's going to happen in Manchester tomorrow there, Leo J. It'd be very interesting, actually. Qatar will bid 6 billion, says Delete. Well, that's another way of looking at it. Ultimately, the Glazers will try and push to 6 billion. And part of me is like, if I'm Al Thani, and I know I'm going to bid to 6 billion to get the club anyway, instead of waiting a few more weeks of another round, would you not just go... There's 5.75 billion. It's way bigger than everyone else's. It's my final offer. Just get it done, But I don't know what people think about that. I've lived to see McFred in midfield. I love United, but we need to be competitive like Real Madrid and their ridiculous Champions League haul Qatar in, says JMD. Well, let's have a look at some of the topical stuff that's been going on today, because obviously there is other stuff that's been going on. Not that it's massively as interesting as this deadline. A lot of people are saying, do you know what the who the other bidders could be? I mean, look, I've been keeping an eye on the show. I've been seeing the morning shows, really, really good, and I agree that whether I agree, I've completely. There's about 7 or 8 bids apparently, wasn't there? And I think that's going to be really interesting. I mean, look, I'm just looking on Twitter here. That's why I lost my way. People are doing 30 minutes until the deadline. I don't know. I'm telling you now, at 9 o'clock we'll be live. There's not going to be a tweet that goes out saying Man United have been sold. There is a deadline. We don't get told about it. We don't get told about it at all. What I was told about 40 minutes ago was that the bids will go in. There's some debate about whether the Qatari bid has already gone in. Sir Jim's hasn't gone in yet, and the other bids haven't gone in yet. But what I was told is, at 9 o'clock it will just pass, and what will probably happen is maybe 10:30 one of the journalists that have been quite close to this will have a little bit of detail about what's going on, and it will gradually come out over the next few days. But we won't be in a position at 9 o'clock or anywhere near tomorrow where it's announced that this is who's going to win what's going on. The Glazers will carry on with this, and I think everybody knows about that. In other news, some interesting stuff coming out. Cristiano Ronaldo has mentioned something. He said on his Manchester United exit, as I said, I went through a bad phase in my career, probably for the first time. It was part of my growth. Now I'm more prepared, and this learning was important. I feel as though I'm a better man. You know, can I just say, you know what? I've always tried to defend Cristiano Ronaldo. Always. He's one of the greatest players I've ever seen. He's a legend of this football club. And I know it ended badly, but I knew time would be his friend because he's a legend. And I love what he said there, because the sign of a great person is to acknowledge their mistakes and learn from them. And I feel that, you know, that Piers Morgan interview was just wrong. You know, do an interview, but don't do it with Piers Morgan, because Piers Morgan is a banter clown, isn't he? He's banter. That's what he is, a wind-up merchant. So I think Cristiano Ronaldo saying, look, I was going through a bad phase, I've learned from it, I'm in a better place for it. I think that's just acknowledging his part, because it was very embarrassing the way, look, Ten Hag, since that interview, he's not lost a cup game. We're still in all the cups. There is no way in Ronaldo's mind he can be thinking, well, I was right about Ten Hag, he's bad for Man United, because he's not. So I think it just shows maturity from Ronaldo. Ultimately, it was never going to work, was it, between Ronaldo and Ten Hag and the situation. He was frustrated and he wasn't going to... You know, Weghorst does work hard and Ten Hag wants that, but it doesn't make Ronaldo not a legend of the game, and certainly not a legend of Manchester United. So I'm glad that he's come out and done that, because I think look, I never lost faith in Ronaldo as a Man United legend, but I think some people were a little bit, you know, put out by it. So hopefully that will, you know, calm those issues. Mark, Al-Thani means the second, Jazim second. Can't say Qatar here, say here is 5.5 billion, but offer expires in a week. Don't know what that means, Frank. You need to write things better. A friend of mine that worked alongside the Rain Group said that deals like this take 2 to 3 months to complete after the bid is accepted. And that worries me, United, Lav. That worries me. When the bid's been accepted, it's not like they're going to walk into Old Trafford next month. It could take 2 or 3 months, which is why we need it to speed up. I was speaking to a couple of people in Dublin today who were at the show, and I saw them in Temple Bar. I was just going to get a coffee. We were talking about the sale. And they were like, oh, Mark, you must be so excited. It's so exciting what's happening with the bid, Glazers out and all this. And I said, well, it is exciting, but do you not feel like we're being manipulated again by the Glazers? Because it's sort of like, we might sell you. We're going to sell, we might sell. We're like fish on the end. We're just being, you know, it's like that clip with Tom Hardy. That's bait. We're being baited here. We are being baited by the Glazers. They're like, oh, we might sell, we will know. And they're not just baiting us, they're baiting Qatar, they're baiting Sir Jim. It's like, oh, we might sell, no, we want bigger. You know, it's just dragging it out. And all we want is to have what we it's not what we want. What we need after this season is to go up, go up another level. And you can't ask Ten Hag to go into next season with the squad he's got this season. He's got to be able to build on it. And to build on it, he needs another 200 million. And to get another 200 million, he needs new owners. And we might not have new owners by the time the transfer window comes round. What's your thoughts on Enzo Lefi for next season, says Nabil? Well, I saw Beth's video, thought it was very interesting, so check that out. Is that rumour, Mark? Keep up the good work, love the show, and you're a legend, says Stephen. Thank you very much. Hopefully the Qataris being in debt is such a pain, been 17 years and counting. By the way, Mark, would you say stadium upgrade or a new one? I want stadium upgrade, Jan. Can't wait for more Qatar propaganda on the United stand. Real United fans want Sir Jim Radcliffe, says Thomas James. Well, Thomas, thank you very much for your super chat. I'd love you to come back with another chat and tell us what a real Man United fan is. Because I've never had a copy of this book. And I've been a Man United fan all my life. And so was my mum and so was my granddad, who, you know, worshipped Duncan Edwards and the Busby Babes. So we're all a bit... Well, my granddad's never going to read it because he's dead now. But we would love to have read this mythical book of how to be a real United fan. Because... yeah, none of us were born in Manchester, yet we all supported Manchester United. So, and that's 3 generations of my family. So I'd love to know what a real Man United fan is and where I can get the book, Thomas. So come back to us on that one. My best to you and all the chat. I can't believe in 1 year we went from Glazers out, pipe dream to deadline day. I'm cautiously excited. See, Uhtred, Don't fall for it. I don't think today's going to be the day. Instead of being employed by TalkSport, you should see them as a corporation. Be great if you named That's Football to that sport. The brand is getting bigger by the year. Big visions for the future, says Ben Anderson. There's loads of stuff going on, mate. Look, I do TalkSport because I get to present a radio show, and I enjoy doing it. I might not be doing it next week. I might not be doing it next year. I might not be doing it next month. But there's no ownership of the United Stand or That's Football by any corporation. And that's why everybody's looking at what we're doing and trying to do it themselves. I mean, look, Soccer AM's been binned off today, isn't it? I wouldn't be surprised if next year they started doing some, Poundland version of me, the cheap imitators who copy everything we do on in the morning, trying to make it about fan content. But it'll fail because it's not real. I was saying this on stage last night. Best of luck to the people who've left the channel, stabbed us in the back, other people who copy us. Best of luck. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, because all you do is go and do exactly what we do. Like, I've not seen anything innovative in the last 5 years within this space or mainstream media. I just see people seeing what we do and copying it. And we will always win if people do that. We will always win. And I mean as a community. I don't mean me. I mean as a community. Gifted 20 memberships per Eric Klassen. Thank you very much. You are class. That is absolutely legendary. Thank you very much for that. Anyway, I want to come back to some other stuff, but let me just go through some of the topical stuff from today. Bayern are not planning next season with Marcel Sabitzer. United will make a decision at the end of the season. That was from Fabrizio Romano. I think on that one we need to wait a little bit longer on Sabitzer, don't we? I was very impressed with him actually at the weekend. I want to see him playing a little bit more. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little bit of a hint on Sabitzer. If Eriksen, and it looks like Eriksen's going to be back really soon. I don't know whether you saw that picture of him in his boots. So he's obviously gone from trainers to boots. He's going to be back very, very soon. With Eriksen back, if Sabitzer's going to stay, where is he in the pecking order for Ten Hag? Because if it's Casemiro, Bruno, Eriksen, Fred, then Sabitzer, I wouldn't take Sabitzer. He's got to be pushing third or fourth midfielder. He can't be fifth choice midfielder. So let's wait and see what happens. James Ducker has said that Sir Jim is ready to go head to head with the Qataris for Manchester United. He's going to have to spend a lot of money then. I don't think he can do that. Rob Dawson has been talking about Harry Kane. He's on Manchester United's list of transfer targets, and there's acceptance at the club that negotiations with Spurs chairman Daniel Levy would not be straightforward, and any deal could drag on until very late in the window. I said that to you, well, someone in the chat. Tell me how many weeks ago we were talking about that. Maybe it was last week, maybe it was the week before. I've always said this. It's very obvious. It's all sports news. That is not breaking news at all. If we go for Harry Kane, he will not be playing for Manchester United at the start of the Premier League season. He will not go on the tour to America. It will be right at the end of the window. The season will have started. He won't have had a pre-season with Eric Ten Hag, and I don't think that's ideal. Manchester United belongs to all of us, not just Manx, says Universal Soldier. Explosion at Ineos plant in Texas. I don't really get the point of what this explosion at an Ineos plant in Texas has got to do with anything, Jacob. I mean, obviously it's very unfortunate, and we hope that nobody's been injured or anything like that, but Ineos is a billionaire business. One explosion at a plant is not going to derail them from bidding for Manchester United unless I'm missing something. How you doing, big man, says Bance. Hope you're doing well, pal. Thank you very much for that. So, yeah, the Harry Kane deal. Look, I don't want the Harry Kane deal. If we buy him, I'll back him, but it will take a long time. I think it's so important this summer, whoever we buy, that they're on that tour in America, learning the ways of Ten Hag, not doing it when the season started. We got very lucky this year. I mean, look, here's an example for you. Has Anthony settled at Manchester United? No. When did we sign him? After the season had started. Did he have a pre-season tour? No. The only player that settled is Casemiro. He didn't settle into the team. It took about 3 or 4 weeks. He kept picking McTominay, and then he's been a revelation. But you're talking about one of the most experienced and best players in European football. You need these new signings on the tour, learning the ways of Ten Hag and the team before the season starts. Not 3 or 4 games in. Rob Dawson also goes to say that Manchester United are looking at signing another goalkeeper this summer. David Raya and Diego Costa are among the club's targets. Now, I've heard something completely different to that. Diego Costa is not a target for Manchester United because he would cost £50 million, and Manchester United will not be spending £50 million on a goalkeeper when they're just about to sign a new contract with David De Gea. They need a striker, a midfielder and a centre-back. So they do like Costa, but they haven't got £50 million to spend on a goalkeeper when they've got a goalkeeper that's on 250 grand a week and they need to buy other players. David Raya, I've been told, is a target for Manchester United potentially because he's only got a year left on his contract and there's a deal that could be done quite cheap there. So not cost is too expensive, but Raya is a possibility. Also, Rob Dawson goes on to say that Tottenham are interested in signing Dean Henderson in the summer if Manchester United decide to let him leave. Well, we should be letting him leave, in my opinion, because I think there's enough question marks around Dean Henderson to move him on and take the cash. And I think Spurs would be a good move for him. So hopefully something will happen with that. There was also a story today about David De Gea's contract. I don't know whether any read that it's getting closer and closer to being signed. I don't have the exact quote with me, but apparently that's going to be very, very soon, which I think, inevitably I've had my say on that. There's an update just coming in from The Guardian. Well-placed sources have cautioned that the latest bids for Manchester United may still fall short of the Glazers' desired asking price of between £5 and £6 billion. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be the news that everybody wants. But The Guardian are saying that both bids have gone in, which is what we were reporting at the start of the show. So both bids have gone in. But early reports say that it might be that they are short of the £6 billion. Well, they will be short of the £6 billion. And The Guardian are also saying, unfortunately, and I mentioned this 20 minutes ago, there could be several more rounds to the sale process if everyone's bids are falling short of the Glazers' asking price. So I just think at this point, it's going. Look, you deal with things how you want to deal with them, don't you? For me, I'm not excited. I'm frustrated now. We've got a season next season where we could be challenging. We've got a summer where we could bring some good players in, and I think we've got buyers who will facilitate that. Unfortunately, it's like a prison sentence, isn't it? We're up for parole. We think we're going to get out, and then we're being told no. The Glazers are going to keep you in for a little bit longer. Our freedom is there in front of us. I just don't trust the parole board, which is the Glazers. They keep changing the terms, and I just think they're going to hold out for as long as they can for the price that they want. And if it takes another 3 months, it takes another 3 months. We need it to be happening now. But as I say, I'm getting quite frustrated about it because I know Chelsea are the case in point. Chelsea's summer transfer window last season was crap. They spent over £200 million, but it wasn't really what they want. It was desperate. It was like running around, a 24-hour garage on Christmas Eve trying to buy everybody presents because you forgot. And you'll spend, the guy behind the cashier's like, I'm closing up in 10 minutes, so I want double the price for that tin of Quality Street. And you're like, yeah, I'll do it. And that's basically what Chelsea did last summer. They couldn't start buying players until July because they were waiting for the sale to go through. And by the time July comes round, most of the good targets are gone. So you're spending silly money on players. Like, what did they spend on Cucurella? It was ridiculous. So I don't want United to be in that position. But the longer this goes on and the longer the Glazers milk it, the more, time is wasted. Man United belongs to us all. I've done that one from Universal Soldier. If you could, would you want to get Pedri and or Javi, says Ishan? I think both are unrealistic. The only midfielder I'd take from Man United, from Barcelona, I think is realistic, is De Jong. Mark, I said, why don't Qatar offer the Glazers $5.5 billion, but to say to them that the offer has an expiry date to ensure no delays, says Frank. Well, exactly. Mikael Roach, thank you for gifting a membership. I hope you're doing well, pal. Thank you very much. The thing is that whether you like either of these bids, Al Thani is part of a family that is not there to be ripped off. So I think there is this stereotypical opinion of Middle Eastern money, like Saudi Arabia with Newcastle or Abu Dhabi with Man City or Qatar with PSG, and now Al Thani with his Qatari links. There is this perception because they're super wealthy, they're stupid. That because they're super wealthy, you can charge them whatever you like. Their wealth doesn't necessarily mean that they're intelligent, but if you do your research on them, their wealth may well have come from oil or gas or whatever. But they're not people who've just won the lottery. and are like, yeah, I'll buy this, I'll buy that. They've actually got really strong business core principles. And I don't think that Al-Thani is just going to go, there's 6 billion, I want Man United, when he thinks he can get it for, 5 billion. And certainly Sir Jim Radcliffe is a business guy. Look, he wanted Chelsea. He put a lower bid in than what Bowley did, but still made the case that it was a better bid for Chelsea Football Club. And, if you do your research on that, how does that work? Because Todd Bowley had a higher package in value, but Sir Jim Radcliffe's was lower, but he was saying this will be better for the club, you should go for it. And obviously they went for the more money. So Sir Jim Radcliffe's a businessman as well. So I don't think that either Al-Thani or Sir Jim are just going to go there 6 billion. I mean, I don't care if they do that. The sooner they get hold of the club, the better. But I can just see it running and running and running. Class says the Glazers are holding people hostage, fans and the buyers, till they get what they want. Sucks, but it's their game. Exactly. Qatar in says Jesus Christ is Lord. Can't wait for a Belfast show. I'll look after you, mate. We need winners plus Kane. Ain't one. Spurs keep him. What about the Asensio on a free rumour, says Mike Calvert. Might happen, Mike Calvert. Just talk about looking after me. I just want to do a big shout out to Dublin chauffeurs who picked me up from the airport and brought me back today. Absolute legends. United fans as well. So if you're ever looking for a nice lift from Dublin Airport, don't check them out on Instagram. Absolute legends. Aside from striker, it would be ideal if United added a world-class number 8, so Eriksen can play as a reserve. Very important position for Ten Hag. I think that's a very intelligent point from United, I really like Eriksen, and I think he's massively underrated, and I think we've missed him a lot, and I can't wait for him to come back. But I'll still stand by what I've said a few times this season. When you go away from home and you play a midfield 2 or a midfield 3 of Bruno, Eriksen and Casemiro is going to get overwhelmed because Eriksen and Bruno aren't that good defensively. And I think we do need a De Jong or a Bellingham or even a Sabitzer, if he can do it, who are more defensively minded than Bruno and Eriksen. I think we do need that type of a player. But it's not about benching Eriksen. I mean, if you had Bellingham or De Jong and you played Casemiro and Bellingham or Casemiro and De Jong, you could play Eriksen at 10 and give Bruno some games off. You could. Mark, I'm surprised the Manscaped and Wash and Go bid didn't happen. Bollock washing at its finest, says AJ. Thanks for the super chats tonight. Mark, you look so happy during the tour. I'm happy to see that. You're always handsome, says Korean Life. Thank you very much. In January, they said they can't spend on transfers because of selling the club. We will have the same reason in the summer, says Godwin. And what about a joint ownership from Sir Jim and Qatar, says Rory. Well, I'd rather that than a joint ownership from Sir Jim and the Glazers, which is what some people think might happen as a bargaining point. I mean, look, it's pure speculation, I know. Yes, I'll forget this. So look, we're bouncing all over now because it's coming towards the back end of the show. But in Dublin on Monday night, I said there's a bar on Grafton because it's Monday and Tuesday night. Like Dublin's just had St Patrick's Day's weekend, the rugby. It's been absolutely buzzing. I was in the Hairy Lemon, which I've mentioned to you before. There's a picture on my Instagram. I haven't been in years, and I sat there and had a couple of pints yesterday. The jukebox was playing, and it's such a lovely pub. I love it. And the guy behind the bar was saying that it was absolutely rammed over the weekend for St Patrick's Day weekend. But we were there on a Monday and a Tuesday night. So Monday, Tuesday, it's not normally a lot going on. It's not as busy as the back end of the week. So I'd phoned around, and there was a bar off Grafton Street called Bruxelles, which is a late bar that stays open till about 2. So I said at the end of the show on Monday, because about 400 people there, and they'd all been drinking. Well, most of them had been drinking at the venue. I said, there's a bar off Grafton Street called Bruxelles, and I might pop up there. So I did. I left. The show finished at 10, and then I went for a few drinks at a different bar, and then I headed up there. And there was loads and loads of people there. And a shout out to the lad. They wouldn't let him in the bar because it's over 25s. Over 25s to get in a pub, and the lad was 20, and they wouldn't let him in. But he'd waited there for 2 hours, and on the off chance that I did appear, and I did, and I took a photo. There's some people who'd driven from Cardiff. Last night we had people who came over from New York to Dublin just to do the United Stand show. People take the piss out of that, but I saw people on Twitter saying, I can't believe people would pay to come and watch a show. Look, I've paid to watch some right shit, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but it was very interactive at both nights. So, I think it was worth it, and it was amazing what people did. But we went to I went into Bruxelles and I had to leave after about 15 minutes because there was this Scouser who kept coming up to me calling me a mank, C-U-N-T. And he'd had a few. And you know, when people, when you're drunk, the opposition don't lose their ability to hear. He kept coming in right up into my face and going 7-0 and all this. And I was just like, you're pissed, mate. Go home. Oh, 7-0, you mank. This, that. And I was like, mate, you lost to Bournemouth the next week. We've won a trophy. We're in the top 4. Take your pint of beer, your 7-0 cup, and piss off. And I just had to leave because I think it was going to end up with him throwing a punch. Although he would have missed because he was so pissed. So last night I'd made my decision that I wasn't going to go to this Bruxelles. But I did say it at the end of the show. I said, look, there's a late bar off Grafton Street. It was a good vibe last night. I might pop up a little bit later. But, you know, if you want to go for a drink and, you know, get chatting, which people did. And apparently a lot of people weren't allowed in. So if you were one of the people last night, I just wanted to say that. Apparently they weren't letting a lot of people in. I don't know why. So I don't know what that's all about. Hi Mark, not sure if you read my super chat message, but can you say happy birthday to my brother Hussein, and can you also call him a prat, says ZR7. There we go. Thank you very much for that. Have you heard Casemiro set to be Brazil captain, says SKY. Well, I wouldn't mind Casemiro being Man United captain in the future. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. Just on the tour, we will be planning on doing more shows in the future. I don't know whether people noticed last night, but well, you probably didn't notice last night, but I wasn't 100% last night. I felt just before I went on the show, something happened that was to do with something I'd eaten, and I wasn't running at 100%, but hopefully it wasn't a notice. But regardless of that, we're learning every show we do, and there's loads of stuff we want to bring into it. So that we'll do some stuff tomorrow at the Manchester show. But there's no tickets for Manchester tomorrow. It's sold out. But London next week, if you can, international break, next Wednesday night in London town. We've still got a few tickets left for that. Well, we did have about an hour ago. So if you want to get yourself down or flying from New York or whatever, we'll make it worth your while, because we're working on these shows and trying to make them as interactive and as fun as ever. Yeah, some of you've guessed in the chat, and then we're looking to do some more in the future. But look, it's good fun. But what I will say is the core for me will always be this. This is what it's all about, you know, reacting to and interacting about the club we love and what's going on with it. And as I said, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with what's going on. I think the excitement for me has disappeared, and now I see it for what it is. We're just being blagged again by the Glazers, who are just trying to milk the situation. They don't care. They don't care how long it takes to get the money they want. They'll take all of March, all of April, and all of May and June if they need to, and then it's going to screw our transfer window up. I don't think we're far away from a point where, you know, Richard Arnold's going to be saying it's going to be a challenging summer because the uncertainty of the sale means that we can't really spend big in the summer because we don't know what's going to go on. And if that happens, Ten Hag's doing what Solskjaer and Mourinho and everyone else did, getting screwed in his second and third year. Junior says, I mean, we're not at that point yet. But if it could happen. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. And God, does that manager need supporting? He deserves another 200 million quid, because what makes me laugh is people start going, oh, everyone's going on about how great Ten Hag's done. Man's had 200 million. And you're like, well, this time last year, we didn't even get 60 points. The team was a disgrace. And most of us were sat there saying that team needs at least $500 million spending on it, 500 million. He's had 200 million. He needs another 200 million this summer. But God, has he earned it? Undefeated in all cup tournaments, third in the league. He's only had 5 players. Give him another 5 in the summer and see where we'll be. It would be a crime if he doesn't get another 200 million in the summer, considering we all know a year ago that team needed $500 million spending on it. He's doing a great job, and I'm just anxious that he's allowed to continue doing that. And also, let's not forget, he didn't get Timber, he didn't get De Jong, he didn't get Nunez. These were players that he wanted. Hi Mark, whoever buys the club, do you think there will be an overhaul upstairs, says Junior. I don't think there will be straight away, but I think there has to be. Big up Mark, good to have you back on these shows. Will you be doing a Prattgate England watch along tomorrow, says Ashcape. Thankfully, I will be in Manchester tomorrow at 8 o'clock doing a live tour show. So I wouldn't watch England anyway. I couldn't give a shit about England, even though I'm English, because Southgate is a complete prat. I can't believe that Harry Maguire, Calvin Phillips, Jordan Henderson, and there's somebody else have been called up for England when they've all been shit this year or hardly played. I just don't get it. I'm fed up of the nepotism approach where favourites are picked, and also I find England ridiculously boring. Can you come to Ipswich, Mark, to do a show? I love your content. Jaden, if you think Ipswich would sell out a United Stand show, we'll do it in bloody Stoke if that's the case. Any thoughts on? No, I'm not gonna read that. And Mike Keegan's tweeted. Right, let's have a quick look because it is 9 o'clock. I was just waiting to see if there was going to be anything coming in. So let's have a look. Mike Keegan's been very close to it. He said, the second Qatar-based bid for Manchester United is in. I understand that Al Thani remains confident and fully engaged. Group believes their project is best for the club, fans and community. Now it's over to the Glazers. This may be a long week. Yeah, so look, I think Mike Keegan's been pretty good in relation to the Qatar side of things. Their bid is in, and they remain confident and fully engaged. I think when you look at this from a business point of view, and this is why I worry, especially when someone like Mike Keegan says it might be a long week, this is where I'm not excited anymore and I'm frustrated, because what you've got is, if you're selling something, and please don't sell anything living, I don't know where I'm going with that. I was thinking about. Look, anyway, let's get back on point. I don't know where. I think I'm on my stand-up show again. Even then, I don't know where it was going to go. If you're selling something like a car, and one person really wants it and another person wants it, you're in a position of power, aren't you? You are. And if both those people are confident they're going to get it, where do you break the chain? So Sir Jim Radcliffe's really interested in United and confident. Al Thani's really interested in United and confident. And then you've got the Glazers who are like encouraging them both. I just think there's only one answer here. The Glazers are in control and they're just going to go, do you want to bid a little bit more? Do you want to bid a little bit more? And it just goes and goes and goes until one of them drop out. And how long does it take for one of them to drop out? Maybe Sir Jim rings up Morgan Stanley and says, can I borrow a little bit more? Of course you can. We really like this project. And maybe Al Thani goes, well, I'll just dip in a little bit more. And then they go, okay, it's gone up again. How long is this going to go on for? In some ways, we'd be better off if there was just one bid that was way bigger than everyone else's and the Glazers just have to work on them with the price. But at the moment, all I can see is delay. Because we know there are two parties, and there might be more, but there's definitely two parties who are very interested and confident. Hi, Mark. Do you think United should sign? I don't know who that is, Edvin. And if Qatar pays 5.5 for 69%, wouldn't they need to pay another 2.5 for the remaining share? If it's for 100%, it's only 3.8 for the Glazers, says Karen. Well, this is the detail we need, Karen. Logan says, I've always wanted to be in the police. I'm age 20 and struggling to write the personal statement. Any advice, says Logan? I've got no advice, Logan. I wish I did, mate. It's a very different world now, I think, to that. I think I had to do an exam when I did it as well. So I don't think there was a personal statement. So I'm sorry, mate, because I didn't do it. Would you do shows in Windsor? Huge United fans, says Yazir. And big explosion at Ineos chemical plant in Texas. Yeah, Huzam, we've few people have mentioned this, but I failed to see what that means in relation to this thing. And I'm with Lee. He says, I'm sick of it now. I'm sick of the bidding process. And I am as well, Lee. I am. It's you know what it's like. I don't know whether anyone's ever been a Star Wars fan or a Marvel fan or a film fan. You know when there's a film coming out that you really are excited about, and they set the release date of, it happened with James Bond actually. Although it was because of COVID, they set the release date. And then you're looking forward to it. And then a few months before they go, oh, we've had a few problems in production. We're knocking it back 6 months. And you think, oh, that'll be okay. And then another 6 months pass and they go, well, we've had to put it back again. And they just keep putting it back. And I feel that that's what's happening here is that We were told that it would all be done by March, which I thought at the time was ridiculous and it wouldn't. And lo and behold, it's not happened. We were told that second bids would be final bids. And now we're being told there's probably going to be another round of bids. And it's just getting pushed back and back and back. And there's nothing wrong with being frustrated about that. Because the frustration about that is from who is controlling this situation. And remember, we've had people counting down till 9 o'clock. And I said, don't count down till 9 o'clock because nothing's going to happen at 9 o'clock. And there might be another round of bids anyway. What you must remember is who's controlling this, who's creating the frustration, and why is it taking so long. And the people who are controlling this frustration are the Glazers. And they've controlled us for 17 years, they've bled us dry, and now they're controlling this situation. And my only focus is that Ten Hag's done a great job and he needs another 200 million this summer to buy another 4 or 5 players. And that's in jeopardy with what the Glazers are doing. We're a football club. We're not a bloody investment fund where they're trying to realise their assets. But that's what we're being treated like. Like we're doing really well on the pitch and we need to be competitive with our rivals in the summer transfer window. And at the moment, teams like Man City, Real Madrid, Liverpool and everyone else are rubbing their hands together because regardless of whether we get a new owner or not, our summer transfer window could be completely and utterly screwed by how long the Glazers are taking, because you can't buy players when you haven't got an owner. And if the Glazers are in charge of us when the transfer window opens, they're not going to buy players. And anybody who thinks that's not true, what happened in January? We bought nobody. We passed up on Gakpo, we passed up on João Felix because there was no money available. And this is coming to a club near you, Man United again, this summer, if they keep pushing this back and back and back. And I think that the Glazers will even use that as a reason to get the bids up. They'll start going, you know what, we can play this all night. We'll play this game all night. We will. But if you want this club, you might want to start offering a bit more because you might want to get this done before the summer so you can buy some players. They're playing everybody. Adin, thank you very much for that. Bid is submitted. Let me just have a quick check. Some people are saying to check some tweets. It's hard to check tweets when you're in the middle of something. But Sheikh Jazim from Qatar has made new improved world record bid for Man United, debt-free. He believes it's its best bid for the club, fans and the community. That's from Sky. I think we'd already had that. It's also understood that there remains some distance between their bids and what the Glazers had initially wanted. Yes. Both groups believe they are the only parties interested in buying the club rather than taking a partial stake, which is also on the table. And yes, so... look, I think in summary, we're getting a lot of regurgitation now. Slow Sports News, everyone's got to put a tweet out, but the reality is it sort of fits in with what we were saying, that there will be another round of bids because they've not offered the 6 billion that the Glazers want. The bids are believed to be between 5 and 5.5 billion, which is short of the 6 billion the Glazers want. Both bids have gone in. And the Glazers will now say, we want another round of bids. So ultimately frustrating unless the Glazers are going to accept one of those bids, which I don't think they are. The NS explosion could be very big financial loss for them, causing Sir Jim to lose some loan power, says Omar. Okay. Let's go, says FM. So yeah, I think the headlines are the bids are in. They're short of what the Glazers want. And they'll probably keep playing this out for a couple more weeks, which just knocks everything back. But tomorrow we might get a little bit more clarity. But ultimately, it's just getting a bit frustrating now, isn't it? And there's nothing wrong with being frustrated because the people who are frustrating us are the greedy Glazers, as per usual. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm back on the morning show with you tomorrow anyway, so I'll be live at 10 o'clock. And also, I'm live on the Friday show as well. So I will be around for a bit over the next few days. But obviously Manchester tomorrow night for the tour, so I can't do that. If you want to get tickets and see it on tour, you know, once in a lifetime opportunity, whatever you want to call it, United Stand on tour, it's something special. Dublin saw it for the last 2 nights. Next Wednesday, London. Get your tickets. Links in the video description or the live chat. Look, it's well worth it coming down anyway. But London's a good city and a good vibe. Adin says, I know it's a bit different, but the suspense on this deal reminds me of the Sancho deal and how long that took. Yeah, but it's much bigger than that, Adin, isn't it? Because we need to get this done. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care, everyone. Great to be back and stay safe. I'll speak to you in a bit.